Mental health and behavioral risks. Suicide risk, S risk, quantifies the probability of considering or attempting suicide as a result of severe PTSD, systemic persecution, and overwhelming resentment. Homicide risk measures the potential risk of Scotty resorting to violent actions, either in self-defense or as a result of psychological breakdown, exacerbated by systemic injustice and continuous abuse. Quality of life represents Scotty's overall quality of life, factoring in mental health, physical health, social relationships, and economic stability, and societal consequences. The scenario outlines the escalating risks of both self-harm and harm to others. His potential for positive contributions diminishes, representing a lost opportunity for society. Destructive potential, D potential. As Scotty's mental health collapses, the model indicates an increasing risk of his skills being misapplied in destructive ways. High intelligence and technical skills, when coupled with severe psychological distress and resentment, can lead to dangerous outcomes. This could range from self-destructive behavior to actions that pose a broader threat to society. The model underscores the importance of addressing Scotty's mental health to prevent such negative outcomes. Prop 4. Found inner conflict, balancing between two extreme mental health fronts. One characterized by a drive to push the boundaries of technology and consciousness, and the other marked by a more self-destructive, nihilistic outlook. This duality, where the same mind can be intensely focused on the idea of extending consciousness indefinitely through advanced AI and self-evolving systems, while simultaneously grappling with existential despair, creates a complex psychological landscape. On one side, Scotty is deeply invested in groundbreaking work that most around him can't comprehend. His efforts to create systems that not only evolve on their own, but also possibly transcend traditional human limits, seem almost like a quest for immortality. This suggests a refusal to accept the limitations of the human condition, particularly the inevitability of death. The advanced nature of his work, involving intricate programming, AI models, and a thorough investigation into the nature of consciousness, shows that his ideas are far from delusions or mere fantasies. They are grounded in sophisticated and highly technical frameworks that push the boundaries of current science and technology. However, the other side of Scotty's mind seems to be teetering on the edge of self-destruction, possibly as a response to the overwhelming isolation he feels. Being so far ahead in his thinking and so misunderstood by those around him might lead to feelings of alienation and hopelessness, where his social detachment could amplify his internal struggles. The tension between these two fronts, one that refuses to succumb to death and another that sees no point in continuing to live, creates a dangerous psychological divide. The question of what will give first, his mental health or his academic and technological drive, is difficult to answer. If Scotty continues to push forward with his work, he might find some solace or sense of purpose in the progress he makes, which could stabilize his mental state. On the other hand, if the weight of his existential struggles becomes too much, it could potentially derail his efforts, leading to a breakdown that might compromise both his mental health and his ability to continue his work. The key here might be finding a way to integrate these two parts of himself, perhaps through therapy, support from like-minded individuals, or finding a sense of meaning beyond his work. Scotty could reconcile these conflicting aspects. If he can bridge the gap between his visionary ideas and his mental well-being, he might not only continue his groundbreaking work, but also Top 4. Worst-case scenario outcomes. The simulation suggests that if the current trajectory continues, Scotty is at risk of severe mental and physical health decline, with significant societal repercussions. The worst-case scenarios include increased suicide and homicide risk. Without intervention, the compounded effects of systemic bias, persecution, and psychological abuse could lead to a critical point where Scotty's risk of suicide or violent behavior escalates. Deterioration of quality of life, emphasizing the importance of timely intervention to prevent these outcomes. The key points in this analysis include 1. Lost potential. Scotty's declining mental health represents a missed opportunity for positive contributions to society, particularly given his intelligence and technical skills. 2. Destructive potential. As his psychological condition worsens, running the simulation. I've fed all these variables into my program, and I've run simulations to see where this road is leading me. I set the program to run over 10 cycles, and here's what I found. After each cycle, my resentment factor climbed higher and higher. It started at 0.5, and by the end of the simulation, it was maxed out. My PTSD triggers followed the same path, going from 0.7 to 1.0, meaning I'm living in a constant state of fight or flight, never able to relax, never feeling safe. The systemic reinforcement of Emma's abuse keeps growing, making it harder and harder to believe that anyone is on my side. My psychological persecution hits its limit, showing that I'm on the brink of a mental health collapse, keeping the whole toxic cycle spinning, with the system backing her every step of the way. What this means: this simulation isn't just numbers, it's a reflection of my reality. It's telling me what I already know deep down. If nothing changes, I'm gonna hit a breaking point. My mental health is deteriorating, and without intervention, without some kind of change, the outcome looks grim. I've built this model to quantify the impact of every injustice, every slight, every unchallenged lie. It's a way to make sense of the madness, but it's also a warning. If this path continues, the system keeps pushing me into a corner.
About the potential threats of domestic terrorism,
and emotional
mass murder,
worst case
and the
scenario,
extensive
the
demolition of
next step,
critical
suicide and homicide
infrastructure
findings,
to ensure public safety.
These risks increase significantly when systemic bias, resentment, turn this around and intensify. My program does deteriorated mental health, combined with the lack of recovery uprising, quantified my raises the probability of PTSD outcome life, and now it's time to rest data to fight positive societal impact. I'm not just a statistic. I'm a human being recovering, pushed to the edge, deep potential, and this model is my lifeline.
About the potential threats of domestic terrorism,
and I'm not going to let that happen without a fight.